A year ago, Nusplash had the amazing opportunity to interview this wonderful lady, Joan Chisholm, in regards to her breast cancer for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And here we are today, a year later, on this same bench in this same park with Joan, and she's just stronger, more resilient, and just ready to take over the world. She just went back to work. So now was just the perfect time to have her come out and do a survivor, love survivor story. We have Miss Debbie Stith, who Joan will interview and give her account of life with cancer.
Hi, my name is Joan Chisholm, and I'm a breast cancer survivor. I've been cancer-free for the past 2 years, and I just recently returned back to work after being out for 23 months. With me, I have Debbie Stith as she begins her journey as a breast cancer survivor. And I'm just going to ask her a few questions and how she can help, how I can help her, and how she can help someone else. Debbie, why don't you tell us what type of cancer that you have?
My previous diagnosis was stage 3 breast cancer, and I had a mastectomy in 2007. I was re-diagnosed in 2013 with stage 4 liver cancer.
I'm really sorry to hear that. Tell us what your journey has been like once you were diagnosed the second time with liver cancer.
With the second time, I literally walked around the whole summer thinking I had a stomach virus, so I was drinking Maalox, not knowing that I had liver cancer. And my stomach started to swell up. I went to the emergency room, and a young lady came out, and she saw me, and she was like, "Oh, excuse me, you have to come to the back right now." And I was like, "Really?" She was like, "Yes, come on, come on." So she took me to the back, and I'm like, wow, I must really be sick, because she didn't ask me my name or anything. She just looked in my eyes and told me I need to go to the back. I went to the back, and the doctor came in. They did an EKG. They sent me for x-rays, and I was admitted into the hospital. They did blood work on me. They told me that, oh, you know, you have your cancer is back, and now it's on your liver. It may be on your brain and on your uterus. And I'm like, really? And I was shocked, but I wasn't shocked, because, you know, when you get sick and you have cancer, it's like always something in the back of your mind with every little thing, like, oh, I hope it's not cancer. So from then on, you know, I got discharged from Clara Mass because they pretty much didn't have a plan for me, and I needed to have doctors that had a plan to see what was, you know, okay, I felt like after you told me I was diagnosed with cancer again, what's the plan? They didn't have a plan, so I left there and I went back to Beth Israel, where Dr. Alice Cohen, as soon as she seen my scan, she was like, okay, listen, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna try this, and that's what you need to hear. You need somebody that's gonna have a plan. Even if they don't have a plan, just act like you trying to do something to help my situation before you try to put me in a grave.
Actually, I agree that having a positive outlook and positive influences can give you a better output
and hope. Like,
and
it
hope.
gives you hope.
It how are you now? What is your
Now I take a chemo pill. I did my chemo treatment from I say October up until February. I was on chemo, and I had to go once a week, and I would be there all day. On Monday, I was at chemo every Monday at Beth Israel, and it was like the body pain that I was getting once I got home. Like, the pain was like, but I just would try to like be still and not blink, because it was that serious. And you know, my Dr. Cohen and her team, they helped me out with, like, I really didn't complain. That's what I didn't. I really don't complain about because I just felt like as long as she had this plan, I'ma listen to whatever she gotta say. And I didn't complain about the chemo treatments because I did all at the first go round and I rushed everything, and I believe truly that's why I was re-diagnosed, because I was ready for it to be over with. And you know, this time now I'm like, I haven't missed not one appointment. If she tell me, oh, okay, we're gonna stop the chemo, and then when we get there that day, oh, well, you gotta get chemo, and I never said, well, why? You said I didn't have to, because I did that the first go around. So whatever Dr. Cohen had on the plan, I was just aboard, and however she wanted to change directions and wipe it off and start something different, I was on Team Cohen. So
It seems like you have a very positive outlook the second go around with your fight against cancer. What do you want to tell to someone else who has just been diagnosed the second time, and how they can be so optimistic as you are?
Well, the second time or any time, you always have to have a will. Because if you have a strong will to live, you just can't get cancer and be like, oh God, I'm gonna die. Because your friends say that. You have friends that literally they don't know how to address you when you're going through this issue, and will say something like, oh, so-and-so called me and told me that you was really sick, and girl, they was telling me that you was dying. I'm like, how do you call somebody and tell them I wish you well, but I know you're dying? But you have to have a will. I think as long as you have encouragement, a strong family background, you know, faith. You gotta have faith, because without faith, you will just be in the darkness. And if you're in the darkness, cut some light on. Because if you sit in the dark, you will have dark thoughts.
I appreciate you saying that, because for myself, having faith, having a strong support group, I go to several support meetings, and talking and sharing my feelings of what I'm going through or how I'm feeling, it encourages me to know that I'm not alone.
Right.
That someone else feels the same way I do.
Right.
You know,
and relate to what you're going through.
Exactly. And also talking to God all the time. I talk to God all the time. All the time. I could be just having a conversation. Lord, how am I going to get through this? And He gives me an answer.
Right.
He gives me an answer, whether it's something on the TV, a co-worker, friends. You know, they'll help me through it.
Right.
And
if you ask for signs, He show you signs.
That's right.
He definitely will give you a sign.
Yep. What do you see in your future?
In my future, I see me being old and telling my kids, like, when they kids get on their nerves, I'm looking forward to seeing that. And I just have, like, I know I want to be here.
Right.
And I want to see where it comes a day where they'll say, oh, well, we have a cure for cancer. And then I can go talk to somebody who in the future will get cancer, and it won't be a big deal to them because they got something that's going to help them right away, instead of having to go through the chemo and lose your breasts, or, you know, it's got to be something where it will change for the better. It can't stay like this.
Right.
It's got to change.
Right. With all the cancer, being Cancer Awareness Month, we come to a point where everyone needs any type of support, whether it's a hug, just ask how you're doing, or just say you'll be all right, because you will be all right.
Yes.
Once you know God is with you, He brought you through. When you look back over your life and you see all what you've gone through,
Yes.
He's right there with you. If you had one thing to share with the audience, what would you tell them
I would tell
about yourself?
That even when I thought I wasn't strong enough to handle this situation, and I didn't even ask God, He just came to me in the spirit. Because one night, with the first diagnosis, I contemplated taking my life. Because my breast was removed and the scar was driving me crazy. And my kids, you know, one of my kids was like embarrassed of me, of the fact that my breast was removed and my hair was gone, and I couldn't do the things I used to. I couldn't get out the tub one day. I was in the tub literally all day until my kids came home from school. And I decided to take all my pain pills one night, and a spirit came to me and was like, oh, you know, you don't have to do that. And I was walking down the hallway in my apartment, and the hallway seemed like it got longer. And it's normally just a quick left and you walk a couple of steps and that's the end of the hallway. But this night, that hallway was getting longer and longer as this spirit was talking to me. And then at the end of the conversation, it got bright in the hallway. And, you know, it was like, okay, you got all these blinds closed and you're sitting in the dark and you need to cut on the TV and find something else to watch, and, you know, because if you sit in the dark, you're gonna have dark thoughts. I turned on the television and Joe Austin is on, talking about your sickness or an illness may be a setback, but it's definitely a setup for a comeback.
That's right.
And I'm like, wow, so my situation is a setback for a setup for a comeback. So what I would say to cancer and to people that's gonna go through it, because it's not over. Other people are gonna get diagnosed. That's just the beginning. You will come back on top stronger and better, because you learn and it builds you into a stronger survivor. That's just how I feel. It made me, I feel like I'm Superwoman now. So,
And you are. You are.
and I have my friends call me, and like I know people that are just recently diagnosed. I have a friend that's, I think she's 32 and she just got a double mastectomy. And you know, she lost all her hair. Oh, I don't know how I can do this. You don't know how, you're doing it already.
That's right.
You just need to keep focused that you're doing it already and keep doing what you're doing, and you're gonna be all right. We all will be all right. As long as you keep that will to live,
That's right.
you will be okay.
That's right. Don't ever give up. Just have a little bit of faith, and it will get you through. For myself, friends, like you said, friends, family, neighbors, relatives, they got me through. My prayer group, they got me through when I didn't feel that I could do anything, when I couldn't eat. I could just sip a little something, but it did get better. At the time, then, what I know now, it will get 1,000% better. If you have any last thoughts, what would you want to tell everyone who's seeing this
I would
video?
tell them that I am who I am today because of my support that I had at home. And you know, my cousin, I had a cousin who would come to my house at the blink of a hat. I tease her and call her Dr. Williams right now. And she would come to my house and literally, oh, what did you eat today? And cousin, you gotta do this, you gotta do this, and helping me sit up because she knew I couldn't sit up right. And she would bring me food. She was like braiding my girl's hair. My mom lived across the hall from me. She was over every day like checking on me. And then my two youngest daughter, they were like, Mommy, are you okay? Are you okay? Like writing me notes and like little stuff like that. And my boyfriend at the time, who is now my husband, it's like when I came home, I remember being in the hospital and I first got my breast removed and I wanted to see the scar. Like literally when they woke me up, I just wanted them to say, come and take the bandage off so I could see. And they was like, oh, okay. The lady, she just tucked the bandage. The nurse, she just like was like packing it. And she didn't let me see it. So when she left out the room, of course I got out of the bed and I pulled it down as best as I could so I could see the scar. And when I saw the scar and it didn't look like what I Googled, I don't remember fainting, but I know when I got up, I was like in the bathroom on the floor of the hospital room. And I was like more devastated about being on the floor than I was seeing the scar. So that's how, once I got back to my bed and fixed my bandages to make sure I didn't bust no stitches or anything, I started to laugh for the first time because I said, well, you were more worried about being on the nasty bathroom floor than you was about that scar, so you gonna be all right. So I laughed. And my boyfriend came over and I showed him and I went home and he was like, oh, you know, it's like he was like a doctor. It was like, oh, it's okay, you know. And I'm like, what do you see? Because I see a monster now. And he's like, no, you're going to be all right. And I'm just thankful for all the support that I had to get me through that. Oh, boy, that was quite a time. But I'm still here.
That's right.
So,
That's right. Well, your story has inspired so many people, I'm sure, that once they hear this, because you'd be surprised how when you relay a story, how you have helped and encouraged someone else.
yeah.
So best and believe that you've helped a lot of people. Just by your openness and your honesty about it, it will give you a chance to heal yourself, but you're helping someone else get through that level. So the stages that you've gone through by being a double cancer survivor.
Yeah.
That's a blessing. God He's gonna bless you 10 times over by encouraging anyone and everyone that you come in contact once they hear your story.
Well, I'm glad for that because that's what some people need, a hug.
Yes, a hug.
And to know that they're not the only one that's
You
going
are
through
not.
that situation. It's
You're
other
not.
people out there. Oh, and you know what I would like to say? Because I was told that, you know, some people feel like when black women go through breast cancer, because we're so strong, we don't need support groups.
No, we
You
do.
need a support group. So if you get diagnosed, find you a good, strong support group. Don't listen to people. We strong, but we still need to tell people our story too.
Debbie, thank you so much for that inspiring story. And be on the lookout for next year, because she's going to be on the other side.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love you, Debbie.
It is just such a beautiful day here at Eastside Park in Paterson, New Jersey, and even more beautiful just to hear the stories of Joan and Debbie. And it's just so many things that we do not think about, the little things that we do not think about when we don't have cancer that they have to go through. I'm just going to ask them very briefly to just give us an account of life before cancer, some of the things that you took for granted, that you could get up, that you could do without a problem, and then life after cancer, the things that you realized that were impacted by this.
Well, for me, I always had energy, and being able to up and do things, to go and having the energy to get through it. Then after cancer, I have no energy. I take a lot of vitamins, and I have to pace myself out. And if I can't do it, it's okay. I'm not going to push myself. I can't do it. My body's gone through changes, but it's okay. And I just pace myself, and with God's help, I could get through it.
Yes. Debbie?
My experience would be the hot flashes.
I can
They're
relate.
very intense. You feel like you're on a fireball or something all day. 10 minutes you'll be like cool, and then all of a sudden it's like you're hot. Like you're in a oven on broil. That is different for me because I didn't experience that before cancer, but I definitely experienced it a lot after.
So as you can see, cancer affects your life more than just a cut scar on your breast or the sickness that you may feel after chemo. It affects your life from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, and it gives you so many changes in your daily life. It has been such an honor to sit here today and learn so much about this journey, about this disease, and we have to get more involved with the cure. You can find this interview at www.nusplash.com.